Mr. Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you. So, first agenda item is called to order, so please turn off your cell phones. Or any other distracting things you might have. And now I will call roll. So, Jeff Canberra,
Present.
good. Yusuf Herbert, absent. Andrea Dawson,
Present.
good. Benjamin Scott, absent. Bill Broadhurst, absent. Cole Sexton, present. Marcus Crawley, present. Thank you. So, moving on to the next agenda item. That is approve the minutes, the meeting agenda. So, are there any comments regarding the agenda for this meeting? Hearing no comments,
For that, looking at, for the,
so this will be agenda item number 2.
number two, number two, I have a question
Okay,
about the agenda.
okay.
Were you going to just, show the link? Present the link for the template?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yes.
No, I was not intending to. I consider that still to be a work in progress.
Understood. Okay.
Okay.
All right. That's all.
So, does anyone move to approve the agenda? Okay, it's seconded.
I'll second.
It's been approved, move and motion has been made and seconded, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Without opposition, the, agenda is approved. Agenda item number 3, public comment. Are there any public comments about anything not on the agenda? Yes.
Thank you. So I wanted to flag 2 things. First is that Berkeley City College had a groundbreaking ceremony a few weeks ago, and it was so good to see Ms. Dawson and Mr. Sexton at that event. It was wonderful. We had over 200 people present for the groundbreaking ceremony. We got some good TV coverage on ABC and NBC, the local channels. So just a really wonderful event. So I wanted to put that on the public record. And then the second thing is that we're nearing the end of our fiscal year, and I wanted to, I'm sure we'll probably talk about this in the context of agenda item 6, but I just wanted to explicitly say if you're looking to continue on the committee, we need you to reapply to submit an application so that we have the materials for the trustees to approve the continuance. So just wanted to put that out.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Thank you for pointing that out. Are there any other public comments?
Well, I thought I knew what Mark might want to say. But I want to say it was a wonderful event, and there was 2 student speakers at the presentation of the groundbreaking for the new building at Berkeley City College. And, you know, it's really a testimony to the junior colleges because both of them told their story, and they're both going to UC Berkeley. And so they did it the right way, in my opinion, because they took an opportunity to use a local community college and not get deeply into debt, got an excellent education, and got a segue into UC Berkeley. Both are going to, I believe, the School of Business, but it was particularly impressive because the young man particularly said it changed his life. He had a different direction that wasn't necessarily a path that everyone would have appreciated, and here he is so proud of what the colleges have given him. So I think this new building and growth at the schools is so important, and they pointed that out, that Berkeley City College has continued to grow in enrollment, and so really we're so lucky to have these colleges here in Alameda County.
Well, it's not luck.
So,
That's
Well,
a lot of work and a lot of taxes.
Well,
So,
yes, but there's some good karma involved too.
Oh, okay.
So,
all right.
there you go.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Are there any other public comments about non-agenda items? Okay, well, hearing none, we'll move on to agenda item number 4. And that is approve the minutes from the April meeting. I do have one amendment to the meeting. And that is, my recollection is that at our April meeting, near the end of the meeting, Mr. Palmer said that he was going to give us a revised pledge. I could be mistaken about that, but I thought my recollection was that I said, well, we'll be happy to receive it and look at it. I'm not sure that a few word changes on it will change my mind about the pledge, but nevertheless. So I don't think that the minutes states that Mr. Palmer was going to give us an amended pledge. So I would like that to be added to the minutes. So that would be item 6G, is that Mr. Palmer was going to provide us with an amended pledge. Yes, so that's what I have to say. Please speak up about
Yeah.
that.
So, well, my suggestion is that if that is true, then it should show on the tape. And so someone runs the tape and that's actual, then we could amend the minutes to add that. And if not, then it wouldn't be added. And the same goes for an item that I know that's missing, but I don't remember exactly what I said. And frankly, I just saw it a few minutes ago, so I haven't had time to look at the tape. But under new business, I had a suggestion that at a future meeting, and I originally said this meeting, to have a discussion on the code of conduct as it pertains to the bylaws. And so if those two items need to be in here, then I would suggest we put that in the record. And
Well, let's take your code of conduct up as a second change to the minutes, okay?
yeah.
So
that's for
first,
sure.
first off, rather than the laborious process of studying the video, does anybody have a recollection about Mr. Palmer's statement that he was going to amend the pledge? Nobody remembers anything like that? Okay, nobody remembers. Let's just ask Mr. Palmer. Mr. Palmer, do you recall?
I also don't recall, but it doesn't mean it didn't happen because I
Okay.
forget.
Well,
Much-
all right. Well,
much
in
better.
that case, what's the proper procedure for verifying the correction to the minutes? Andrea says that somebody should review the video and determine whether or not Mr. Palmer said that. I think it is not worth putting any quality time into that because it's not really doesn't make much difference here or there.
Well, since I didn't do it, maybe we can put it in the minutes for this meeting, and then the next time you can.
All right, so we'll drop that, okay? Andrea. Previously, you did have an item that you wanted to put on the minutes about the code of conduct. And then you dropped it. You removed it from that. And as far as I'm thought that you were just dismissing it altogether. So I didn't put it on this agenda because I thought that we had moved on from there.
Well, no, my recollection of what I said last month is that I'd like to bring up that topic as it relates to the bylaws. And you said something to the effect, well, yes, I think that might be a good idea. And the reason, and you said, send me what you would like to discuss on this, okay? And I didn't send it for this meeting because I want us to spend our whole 2 hours on well, this was my thoughts on this, was on the annual report, because we have just a couple months now to get the annual report done in what I call a timely manner. And so that's what I came to this meeting thinking that we were going to spend the majority of our time on, was discussing what would be in the annual report and possibly looking at the first draft. And I'm understanding now from what you said earlier that we're not going to be doing that, which that's okay. But so what I'd like to say,
Interrupt you here.
Sure.
The topic was whether or not your previous request for a agenda item for the code of conduct was going to be. So I think we all agree that you did not request that the code of conduct discussion be at this meeting.
yeah, we can vote. I mean, and I will just abstain on the minutes. And I will ask that it be added to this one. It's not that big of a deal. I would like to move on, okay? I'd like to move on.
That's not a correction to these minutes about code of conduct. We can put it on the next meeting if you want.
Yeah.
Okay, and your expectations about the annual report, we can take up when we get to that agenda item.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so are there any other corrections to the minutes? Hearing none? Yes,
I just wanted to confirm that we haven't made any corrections to the minutes, so we're just
Okay.
voting to accept the minutes as submitted.
so we've not made any correction to the minutes. All right, thank you. So the minutes will be approved if we all agree that they're approved. So do I hear a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes.
Okay, seconded? Fine. The minutes from the April meeting are motion to approve and seconded. All in favor of approving the minutes from the April meeting?
Aye.
Aye.
I abstain.
You, okay. Andrea abstains. The agenda item number 5. Are there any
So
public comments?
you approve the minutes, because I think you only have 3 yes votes.
No, they'll have to be tabled and carried over. Correct.
Well, that's a good point. I don't know that point. We have a majority that approved the minutes. I don't know if we need a quorum to approve the minutes.
Yeah, I mean, you can't, a minority can't take action. You need a majority.
We're not taking. Are you saying? No,
So
I
if
just
4
want
people
some
who-
clarification.
You have 4 people who show up for a meeting,
Yes,
and a majority vote of the board is 7 people. I think, or sorry, you have 7 people on the board, so majority vote is 4. I think you want 4 votes to approve the minutes. not as a lawyer, but just as a person who's been in a public meeting from time to time?
It was an action item because we voted to approve, and so I would concur with your assessment. Otherwise, a very small minority of the board could take us off in a way different direction. As a civilian,
As a
as a civilian.
Thank you. Good point. So we will reserve approving the April minutes to the June meeting. Thank you. Okay. Agenda item number 5. Brown Act remediation letter discussion. Is there any public person that wants to say something about this agenda item before we start our meeting, the committee discussion? Hearing none, we'll start the committee meeting discussion. So there's something I would like to say about it. And this committee has been encouraged to sign a pledge and put Jeff Canberra's Brown Act grievance behind us. The pledge wording described in the Brown Act, Government Code 54960.2. We were going to have that as an attachment. It got lost in the shuffle. But I think that either, if I misspeak, I invite Mr. Palmer to correct me. I believe that the pledge is found in Government Code 54960.2. And
I'm sharing screen to show it.
what's that?
I've got it up here.
Thank you. Now, this 54960.2 is a remedy for a Brown Act grievance. And I believe that the Brown Act grievance procedure is 54960.1. So far, nobody has assured us that the grievance procedure that we're dealing with is 54960.1. So we really don't even know if the pledge in this .2 actually applies to the grievance procedure. Mr. Palmer did not confirm that 54960.1 is the procedure that Jeff is following. And Jeff has not confirmed it either with me. So a little bit later on, when I'm finished here, I want to ask Jeff if that 54960.1 is the grievance procedure that he is relying on. And I just want to quickly remind us what the history of Jeff's grievance, and that is in last year in July, we had a vote for the new chairmanship. And there were 2 of the members that attended that were not in, they were on remote, not with video and audio. And so that was a violation of the new requirements, the Brown Act requirements. So a few days after that vote, Jeff contacted me with a letter, which is part of this package, and said that he thinks that we made a Brown Act violation there, and that we need to correct that. So we did correct it. We had another vote to correct that 2 months later in September of last year. The 54.960.1 required that the correction occur within 30 days. And so that gave rise to a different, slightly different grievance that the correction was not made timely. I think that brings us up to date on what Jeff's grievance is, and I'll ask him in just a little bit to clarify or correct whatever I've said. But in the meantime, even though we don't have we're not going to be voting on a pledge, or don't have an amended pledge, I think that if we sign a pledge and ever make a future Brown Act mistake, the district could retaliate and say, oh, this oversight committee is a repeat offender, and therefore we're going to dismiss this entire oversight committee, as we should, because we don't want rogue oversight committees. And I don't think that my discussion here of this potential problem is just a speculation, because in the past, just 5 years ago, the board did dismiss the oversight committee for a lesser offense, or actually no offense at all, but did dismiss the oversight committee altogether. You are shaking your head, but they did. So I'll ask you about that later on. So I think we have a duty as adults and members of this oversight committee to understand the issues before we vote on anything. And for starters, I think that we should understand what procedure problem that we are trying to solve with a pledge. So let's not get intimidated into making a decision before we understand the elements of the problem. So, Jeff, number one.
You have a question?
Yes, and I will get to her in due time. Do you dismiss your grievance?
So there is no official grievance. There never has been an official grievance. And so after multiple conversations and emails with you from January to September, we did one part, which we thought, all of us thought, was the complete remedy for the Brown Act violation. And as far as I was concerned, at that time, the matter was dropped. And if you recall, it was not brought up again until 2 months ago at our meeting, which I think was in March, but a little fuzzy about that.
Yes, you're right. It
Okay,
was.
and that was a discussion that came out of Mr. Palmer's presentation in January that said, in a very generic way, the remedy for a Brown Act violation is two parts. cure and correct, and issue the letter. And so at that March meeting, when we had that conversation and there was a question as to whether there was an ongoing violation, I brought up the fact that Mr. Palmer had said we hadn't quite closed that loop. And then I stepped out of that conversation, and that was a committee conversation about issuing the letter and going forward.
Okay. Thank you. So, there is no, grievance or gripe or complaint on your part.
No, and I think where the issue now is the committee, not any individual, the committee has to decide whether it should or should not issue a letter.
Okay. Thank you. Andrea, you had your hand up. You want to say something about this?
Yeah, on this whole topic on the item, I want to first say I agree with everything that Jeff said. And what I want to go on the record to say right now is that you have provided a letter here that is addressed to Mr. Palmer with a date with 12 questions on it on behalf of the committee. It is not shown as a draft letter. It is not shown as an item for discussion by us. You could say that is maybe the way it's on the agenda here, but here's the situation in my opinion. That is, you put all of us as a committee in the first paragraph, said we want to know all of these things. We didn't discuss those 12 items, number one. Number two is, as much as I appreciate and value Mr. Palmer's opinion, he is an at-will district consultant. If we determine that we're going to write a letter about this issue and ask all these questions, whatever questions we determine we want to get resolved, I believe it needs to go to the chancellor, because the chancellor reports to the board and the board hires the chancellor, and the chancellor probably, or the previous chancellor, hired Mr. Palmer as the very good legal district consultant. So I was quite upset to see that you wrote this letter, and the opener is, it's on behalf of, the committee wants to know. I don't want to know all those things. So I just want to go on the record.
Okay,
Okay.
all right. So, therefore, we have no outstanding problem. Paragraph,
If we back up a minute, is that I believe we still have an outstanding problem if we have not issued the letter based on advice of counsel. And that is a committee decision as to whether we do or do not have a problem and whether it needs to be remedied or not.
okay, so you think we still possibly do have a problem, and I think we don't have a problem. And the reason I think we don't have a problem is that subsection E in 54.960.1 says, during any action seeking a judicial determination, if the court determines pursuant to a showing by the legislative body that it has cured or corrected any subsequent action of the legislative body, the action filed shall be dismissed with prejudice. So that means to me that the district, since you are not pursuing a legal action,
No, I'm not.
if the district wants to pursue a legal action to flush out the result, it's saying that the judge shall dismiss it with prejudice. So in other words, can either drop it right now, or the district can pursue it. And if the district pursues it it shall be dismissed with prejudice. So therefore, we have no reason to sign a pledge.
So I'm not gonna get into the legal back and forth with you.
So, Mr. Palmer, have I correctly interpreted subsection E?
Well, it depends on what the basis of the complaint is. The basis of the complaint is that the election of the chair was improper because you had somebody who wasn't properly in remote attendance, then you have corrected that. But if the complaint is that the basis of the complaint is that you have conducted meetings on an ongoing basis with people attending remotely in a manner that was uncompliant with the Brown Act, then I'm not sure that you corrected that.
Have we? I don't know that there's any
But I think
statement on the table, that we have continued to have meetings not compliant with the Brown Act. Nobody said that.
I mean, I think that we have seen that there is a member of the committee who has failed to attend in person beyond the number of excused absences that Brown Act permits. I think we've also had a member of the committee attend without their camera on. And so I think that, you know, in the few meetings that I've attended, I have seen non-compliant Brown Act attendance. And, you know, the letter provides you with the same comfort as the corrective action that you took with respect to the action that was taken when somebody wasn't properly in attendance. And it's not an admission of having done anything wrong, right? And so I think that the statute says that someone has 9 months to file a grievance from the date of the action. So I think that we're still in that window, and you can shut the door by issuing the pledge. And the pledge just says we're going to comply with the law. So I'm not sure that there's anything particularly controversial about it, particularly because the statute makes it explicit that it's not an admission of having done anything wrong. It's just saying we're not going to do this in the future. So, but that said, I think the likelihood of the committee getting sued or anybody like coming out of the woodwork is minimal. And so if you choose to do nothing, I don't think anything's going to happen. But the letter is there and it does provide you additional correction. And so I offer it to you as an option, but it's certainly your choice, you know, whether to avail yourself of its protections.
Well, there's a couple of things that you said that I take issue with. And one of them is that there has possibly been ongoing Brown Act violations. You said something about a member attending more than the minimum, more than the maximum allowable on audio video. And it seems to me that it says in a calendar year. So we're talking about the calendar year being 2024. And I think that you're referring to Mr. Youssef Herbert, and he hasn't attended more than video more than twice. I think he attended in January and then was approved to attend in March and didn't. So he has not attended twice. And so I was just looking at this before today, saying, okay, has he used up all of his? I thought it was sort of debatable whether it's even used up, because he got approval to attend, but he didn't attend. So whether that, and it doesn't seem to me that that counts. And I forget your other point that you said might be an outness. a violation, but when you said it, I also didn't think that was, correct either. But if we're going to, get legal opinions, from one lawyer that is representing the district, I think that, we can either drop all of this or get a second opinion by our own lawyer that would be giving clarification on, Yusef Herbert, remote attendance. Yes, Andrea.
So it's 6:13. I'd like to get to the other agenda items. So I'd like to propose that we vote on either dropping, getting another legal opinion on it or not. And so that would solve one piece of this, is like, getting a second legal opinion, okay?
Well, you're asking to put something on next month's agenda, correct?
Well, I guess so, because you're saying we can't vote tonight.
Right, it's not an action item,
So, yes.
okay?
So I'd like to say, okay, we're gonna have to table that until next month. Because we can keep talking about this, and it's now 6:14. So, anyway, I think Jeff has it.
Yeah, Andrea, this committee, the best thing we do is talk out a problem till everything's been said.
Okay,
And that is the way the Brown Act, that is the way Robert's Rules of Order says to conduct a meeting. And that is the way I intend to. So before I get to Jeff, I want to recognize Mark Johnson, who indicated he had something he wanted to say, and I do. I'm interested in what you had to say, Mark.
Oh, this is when you were saying that the district had eliminated the committee, disbanded the committee. And I think that is factually inaccurate. In 2019, there was a Citizens Oversight Committee, one committee that was responsible for reporting on the bond and the parcel tax. And what the trustees did is they split that one oversight committee into two bodies, and they gave the members of that committee the option to participate in either committee. And 100% of the members of that Citizens Oversight Committee choose to be on the parcel tax committee. So that was their preference of the issue. It wasn't that people interested in the bond were, I can't remember the terminology that you used, but it wasn't disbanded. It was actually given more focus, and the members had the option to serve on either committee, and they chose to serve on the parcel tax.
I understand that explanation. But in actual fact, in March the 15th, the two committees were stopped. And when they finally had the next meeting in August, Mr. Turnick, the lawyer, said, you cannot have this meeting because the Oversight Committee has been disbanded. He said what his term was reconstituted. So reconstitute is not found in the dictionary, so that's sort of legalese for hocus pocus. But the fact is, the district is required to have a Citizens Bond Oversight Committee. And if it wanted in March to say, okay, how many of you people want to continue to be on the Bond Oversight Committee, just raise your hand. Didn't do that. They explained how it's going to be reconstituted and then doesn't exist anymore. That's disbandment. So,
I'll just point out that that happened in March of 2019,
Mm.
and none of those people are at
5 years later.
the district.
right, and that's right. And 5 years later, because we've had a do-nothing committee all this time. So, so it'll probably never come to haunt us. But, it shows that the district is willing to, play games when it decides it is, beneficial. There was nobody on the board of the Board of Trustees that says, what? You're going to disband the Bond Oversight Committee? There was never even discussion of that. And, then in
That's
September
just
of
an
that, in the
inaccurate
September of that year, the, after almost 8 months, the board says, oh, we're going to appoint a new oversight committee, and all the members were new. There weren't any members that carried on. So, you can have your opinion and I can have mine about this past history, but it does indicate to me that we should not be signing agreements that we don't have to sign. That's just, I think, foolish. Anytime one is going to sign something that they don't have to sign, and it's not going to benefit them at all, I think that's foolish for an adult to do that. Now, Jeff, you had something you wanted to say.
So
Got the
I just
floor.
wanna know, are you willing to put just the item about whether the letter should be issued or not? Regardless of what the discussion is about pros or cons, put it on as an action item next time so that everybody can voice their opinion and then say yes or no. As an action item on the agenda.
Yes,
Okay,
I'm willing to put the voting as an action item on the agenda about whether or not we should sign a pledge.
Right, okay, that's fine. Then every member can say whatever they want in support or against it, and that puts it puts it to bed. And quite frankly, whatever the result is, I'm happy to live with either result. I don't care. And it saves us from having to get an attorney or any of the rest of the things, which I would not support.
Okay. So, is there any other comments on this agenda item? Are you playing with your hair? Or you got your hand up?
I'm playing with my hair.
Okay,
Sorry.
all right. Well, then, hearing none, we'll move on to the next agenda item. The website. Are there any comments from the public regarding agenda item number 6, the website, before we start talking about it? Okay, hearing none. I want to say something about the website. I think the website is poor. Over a year ago, Jeff and I had a subcommittee and we asked for a particular chart. And we described the chart. Mark said, okay, yeah, we did it. And what went on the website was nothing like the chart that Jeff and I described. And so I picked it up again a number of months ago, and I wrote out a formula for, okay, here are the cells on each row and each column, and this is what I want in there. And it's not there. Mark said, oh, we got it done. I said, no, that's not what I asked. And as long as you keep squeezing our information into 2/3 of a page, we're never going to have a good website. The education code says that we shall have a website that the district shall maintain. Now, I think that when we decide that what we want for a website, the district shall do it unless it's impossible. And I'm reminded about the application. Was pestering the district to make a fillable application for about 2.5, 3 years. And then finally, and you guys said, whoa, can't be done with this form that we have. And then finally it was done. And Mark says, yeah, no problem. Well, I think that the same answer is about our website for this category, membership categories. Either you're unwilling to do it or you're willing to do it. And I'm not sure that when I have challenged Mark, that I was challenging the right person. Because Mark has been helpful all these years. I assume that Mark was assigned to facilitate whatever we need. And I had a nice conversation with him a month or two ago, and he explained what all he does, and I'm thinking that, oh, I got him wrong. I've been thinking that he's assigned to it and he has the duty, and I was wrong. He doesn't have the duty unless it's recently been imposed on him. So there's nobody that has the duty to make us happy. And there are other websites, plenty of other websites from oversight committees that have a category chart that's a full page wide. There is no reason that it has to have a lot of text stuffed into little bitty cells so that they are not well presented. So that, and one more thing about the website. The district has been dragging its heels for 5 years. Every time we say this is what we want, the district takes 9 months or so to give us something similar to what we want. And so we never really get a good website because we're always still talking about last year's problem. And I think that this ongoing problem needs to be advertised to the public of the unwilling unwilling board of trustees or whoever's supposed to give us the help that we need to do a good job. So that's what I had to say about the website. Oh,
Chair Crowley, so what exactly are you looking for? You said the expanded text. That does have its limitations when it comes to what's called form factor, the type of media that you're viewing the web page from. So if you have lengthy run-on text or compressed text, just like that, it has to fit on somebody's mobile phone, or whether you're viewing it on a laptop or desktop or tablet, it is going to take different forms. So exactly what are your grievances with it? So I know, and then maybe I can help to remedy that issue.
well, great.
Website development.
I'd love to talk with you about it.
Okay, we can, yeah,
Oh,
okay, we
okay.
can all find out.
So, yeah, why don't we reconstitute the website committee
Okay.
and talk these things out, because a more extreme example of this is the site that has the agenda and minutes and things like that. Rather than have a nice table where you can see things, it is it's pages long.
Right, understandable, and that is due to design, like what Mr. Johnson just did, where he collapsed
Yeah,
something. I mean, that's just to make the page more aesthetic. You understand, like, so it's not just overrun with like just lengthy text.
yeah, so we never chose to have this menu on every page.
Okay,
I think it's terrible having this menu on every page. I think that when a person clicks on membership, there should be a clean page that gives all the information, not crowded in with this menu on every page.
okay.
Now, I don't know if that is the website master that they have chosen, but if that's the one that's chosen, that's the limitation, well, then they got the wrong website.
Right. Again, it's just how it's coded and designed to
Okay.
look, but you and I can discuss that and,
Okay.
committing, I can,
Okay.
talk that over with, Mark Johnson.
Great,
Okay.
okay.
All right.
So Jeff, previously you were on the website subcommittee. Do you still want to be on the website subcommittee?
Sure, I'm happy to be on.
Great, okay. So that's what I have to say about the website. Are there any other comments before we move on?
I'd like to, oh, sorry.
All right, well, I just, because I was on the committee originally, and I saw that come back up, and I believed it was done to our satisfaction. I don't hear nobody ever said anything that it wasn't. It was in a chart form, and I personally found it easy to read and look at. So I mean, I think we always have a matter of personal taste for sure, but the information was there, it was in the chart. I could look across and know when the term, so in other words, it had all the information we wanted. And I guess if there's a format change, that's fine, but I didn't see anything in the way of deliberately not trying to do what we were asking for. So I'm happy to make a comment, but that was fine for me. And just as personal preference only, I like having the menu because I move from place to place. And so having to go back to a home page. And again, Mark can address though the issue about we have a template. This is a structure and we can't code around the template.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
what I would say.
Mhm.
I mean, you can code around it for $20,000, which is probably not something we would want to do. So, but I will let Mark address the issue of template because it's way beyond my pay grade.
Yeah,
Way beyond my pay grade.
So Jeff, you were not party to my gripes at the time. You and I worked out something. We submitted it to Mark. And I griped to Mark about, the changes that I, thought should be there. And you weren't really privy to that. So I don't think that, what Mark did even a year ago did not comply with what you and I requested. But, that's water under the bridge. So, Andrea.
so, well, since we're gonna have a little bit of input here, I actually think it's very easy to maneuver around this. And I do go in and look at the financials and the audits and the, and the agenda and the minutes. And the collapsing and expanding of it all, I mean, and I'm not a techie person at all, but to me, I can maneuver through this very easily and find the information I want. So I'm sure it could be improved, but I think it's pretty easy to maneuver through this and see what this page is about and what the information gives. So,
Okay. I don't know your name.
BC, 2 letters.
Oh, okay. Oh, yes.
That's the comic strip.
Exactly.
It's up here in Beehole. Right?
Remember
BC,
right?
BC off.
Really easy to remember my name.
Mhm.
It's more of a question. What is the intent of this page? Because I think it's a tool, right?
Yes.
So is it a tool just for this committee or just public in general?
Public.
Okay,
It's
so-
public facing.
Are we hearing a lot of complaints about this from the public in terms of, I'm just curious because that's, for me, that's where I go to is if it's a public tool, are we getting a lot of feedback.
BC,
Mhm.
I'd like to answer that question.
Absolutely.
It is, I think, is for us. And when we started this oversight committee, there were a number of members that were assigned for less than 2 years, and some of them for even less than 1 year. And I want this chart to show exactly when they are being underrepresented. I want it to be right there in a column that at the top says minimum 2 years, and I look down and say, well, what's he there for 1 year for? You know, I want it to be noticeable to the public. And so, yes, the public could see this and understand who Marcus Crawley is and what his category is and stuff like that. But they wouldn't see all the stuff that I want them to see what they should see, not what is convenient to see.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just curious. Thank you.
Okay. Amber, you want to say something?
No, I already made my comment.
Okay.
Were you still gonna say something?
When the chair recognizes me, I'll have some comments.
Oh, Mark, did you want to say something? I'd be happy to, since you're part of this team, I'd like you to say something if you have something to say.
Sure. Well, I do appreciate your perspective. But I just want to make clear that we are working on a template that's part of a design that's been very heavily tested for our community. So that's not just the members of this committee, but the broader community for the Peralta Community College District. And a large number of our community members visit the website on mobile devices. And so what we have here is a site that has a responsive design. And Mr. Crawley would like it to be very, very wide with all of the columns. And because of the right side menu, and Mr. Crawley said the committee didn't request that, but he did request it. It's just the sample site that he gave. There was a sub menu at the top. So we have a menu at the top. If you can see you can't really see, but we have links at the very top of the page, which is kind of the primary. Then we have our audiences where we have navigation by role. And then we navigate into the areas of the site, and then that's where the sub menu on the right side kicks in. This is a contextual menu that's based on the part of the website that you're at, which makes navigating through the website very, very convenient. So Mr. Crawley is disappointed that we can't remove that right side menu, but it does help as people navigate throughout the site. The other point is that it is a responsive design, and because most people are viewing on mobile devices, the table that we have right now that only has 3 columns actually looks very attractive.
Fills the screen.
It fills the width of a phone display.
Yeah.
So it does convey all of the information in one view. So we feel like that. I definitely recognize that it's not exactly what Marcus wants, but we've really tried to provide the information in a way that is valuable to the broader community as they come through and they look at the site. And I'll say the other thing about the forms and the application, Mr. Crawley is absolutely right. It took us way longer than it should have. When we were operating on a WordPress platform, all of the different plugins around the district were very difficult to support. Once we moved to the HubSpot platform, then we were able to very quickly spin up that, not just a PDF form, a fillable PDF, but the actual form that people can complete and submit, which is what we have now. And it does help. I'm looking at Mr. Sexton, who completed the form as recently as part of our call for student members. And that I think that online submission form that you had been advocating for so long, that's now available, is working very well.
Okay. Now, I understand about it being, convenient for people on cell phones. But this is the only website that I have seen, and I've looked at all of them in Alameda County, and none of them are as constricted and awkward as this one. Even this one could be improved if the menu stayed at the top and my category chart was the full width. And they've got people all over Alameda County that have cell phones, and they look at their websites, and their website's supposed to look good, and ours is supposed to look good. It's not supposed to be, it's on the website, it's supposed to be provide all the information that I want, that we want to the public, so the public gets the concept easily. And I'm hoping that that all of your arguments there is not going, do not mean, Marcus, we're not going to give you what you're asking for. No way, no how. I'm hoping that you say, oh, now you better understand what I'm looking for, and that you will do what it takes to make our website suitable for us.
One thing that I've never seen is the actual table that you want displayed. You've sent it to me in text form, and so my ask for you is, can you put it in a spreadsheet for me? What you want to see, and then we can see what we can do.
It took me enough time to make that narrative about what cell number one, A1 has, what cell number A2 has. I think that is enough if I have a willing helper.
So we went back through and we tried to replicate the cells that you had described, and you wanted to kind of front load the first column with the name and the code and the name and the code.
Right, and that could probably be with the name at the top and the ed code in smaller letters be only 2 sentences long, 2 spaces long, if they were wider. And it's not wider. It is it's being compressed so that it's narrow and tall. And I don't want it narrow and tall because I want those other columns in there to show dates and when they were appointed and when they're going to be termed out and things like that. And what appointment is it? First term, second term, third term? I want that column there. And so even this one could be more efficient if the service term number that could be narrower, or it could be at an angle or something like that. So it doesn't need to be taking up multiple spaces when it's just a single letter. I mean, not a single digit.
But the heading is what determines the width, not the data inside of it.
Okay, so therefore, if our chart were as wide as that picture up there that says membership, it would probably look pretty good. So if you want to keep the menu on top and have the category chart under the menu, full width, that'll look pretty good too. So I think I've repeated myself enough. And I hope that you're not thinking that I am extreme beyond redemption, because we do need what we need. Do you have something you'd like to
I
say?
do. This time I'm not playing with my hair.
Okay.
And so fortunately, you've got colleagues who will help, work on it with suggestions within the limitation right here, right? Because you have to be able to navigate. And so I really like that suggestion, even though I'm not on the committee, but I think that will be super helpful. And then Mark can get exactly what he needs. But I just wanted to say from earlier as well in the meeting that, Mark's here every month, right? And I watch these meetings almost all the time online. And he does a lot of good work, right? He is here supporting, and I've never heard him say one negative word about any of it. And I just want to make sure that that like we're all here to support. And so this is not supposed to be like, we don't feel this is an adversarial relationship. It's a collegial one. We are here. We appreciate the work that the committee does. It helps us be better. It helps the community understand and be better and help support our bond projects. And so I just am hoping that, that we can all work in a collegial way. And so it doesn't have to be adversarial. And just for the record, reconstitute is in the dictionary.
Just for the record, what? I didn't understand.
Reconstitute.
Thank
It's in the
you. I looked
dictionary.
up.
I couldn't find it.
Yeah, it's there.
Which dictionary?
Well,
Google.
yeah. Dictionary.com, Merriam-Webster, on a few ones that I popped up.
Okay. So Mark, I do not feel adversarial to you. And in fact, I think you're doing one hell of a job. And like I said before, I've misunderstood your role. So, so whether it is you that's providing the website that I'm requesting, or whether it's somebody else providing it, or whether it's a matter of you getting back to me and showing me why it cannot be done. I'm willing to work with all those things. What I'm not willing to work is that when I ask for apples and you put oranges up there and saying it's all done. I said, no, apples is not up there. So that's my frustration. Jeff, you have a
No,
comment?
so I just would like, so we avoid this in the future, is that we have a subcommittee on the website and that we will agree to give Mark Johnson the direction or come back to this committee to say what we recommend. And that if there's any issues at all, that it comes back before the committee and does not go to Mark individually.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So any other comments before we move on? Okay. Hearing none, we move on to agenda item number 7, which is Mark Johnson's role. Thank you.
Who's doing the interview?
Oh.
I thought this was gonna be more of a
This is an
Q&A.
interview.
To some degree, I've already alluded to things. I said that I used to consider that you were assigned to this committee to do what we need done. And even at times I've said, you have the duty. And I think I was wrong. I'm not sure you have the duty. And I know now, in fact, I used to think that all your work was with regard to this committee. And for the life of me, I couldn't understand how a public relations guy is spending full time when we're giving hundreds of millions of dollars to the students. And now and based on your and my conversation, I realize that no, you're doing a great deal to help the students be successful. So who has the duty to carry out our website requirements?
Yes, so yeah, I oversee the Peralta website, and I have a team of 2 really excellent web content developers. And so those 2 gentlemen are who maintain the Bond Oversight Committee.
Those 2 guys are what?
They're web content developers,
Yeah,
and they're part of the marketing, communication, and public relations team that reports up to me.
and they report to you,
Yes.
so they do not have a duty to us.
Well, you're a really important stakeholder of the district. So it's an important part of our real estate. So yeah, very important.
So who has the duty to do the website according to our requirements?
Well, I think based on the discussion that I just heard, I don't think that the website that you have is not meeting the requirements. It's just not fully aligned with your personal tastes.
Oh. So,
Is that, I mean, is that
So-
fair?
Well,
no,
I think that's a fair statement.
I don't think it's fair. I think that a year ago, Jeff and I had a meeting and we developed a outline of what we needed. And I submitted it to you thinking, okay, now we've made our requirements clear enough that now it's going to happen on the website. And it didn't. It was something else that happened on the website.
Our recollection is different because this committee used to occupy space on the Build Peralta website. And over the last year, we moved that to the Peralta Community College District website. So all of the material that we look at when we look at the Bond site right now is all relatively new. You know, it was in a different location a year ago.
But, okay, so technically it is on the Peralta website. Still got a link on the Build Peralta website so that the public would not know the difference. But okay, well, let's just put this behind us. And as far as website goes, how about the tables? Last meeting, they were spread so far out and the Zoom didn't work. She fiddled around for 15 minutes to get, who has the duty of getting the tables ready?
Yes.
That's me.
Yes.
All right, is that you from now on? Or
Well, so it's almost, yeah, it's almost always happened. So BC oversees facilities and operations,
Okay.
and the custodians report to him, and Dante Zed set up our meeting space tonight, did a great job. So it's just a matter of coordination.
Yeah.
okay. All right.
Now we use this is a special camera that we use for the Peralta TV team.
Yeah.
That's a perk that I get because I manage the Peralta TV team. So you have a really nice camera here. And when I was traveling last month, I was with several members of the Peralta team, the marketing team at a conference. And so we used our IT OWL, which is, perfectly fine technology. But I understand that there are, some hiccups involved.
Tell us a little bit about the programs that you do to rescue the students and support students and make students to be better students, make it easier for students to be good students.
Yeah, well, thank you for teeing me up. This is a really good question. Yeah, so I help with making students in our community aware that community college is an option for them. And so for the last 2 years, for example, we've been promoting the free college. Spring is free, fall is free. And we were able to do that, make that offer because of federal funding for emergency relief for COVID. Most recently, we were able to use California block grant money in order to waive student fees. So I created advertising campaigns with my colleagues and in collaboration with the stakeholders at each of the colleges to really get the word out that college is available for the people who need it in our community. And just really excited about the fact that over the last 2 years, the enrollments have come back at all 4 of the colleges. We've had enrollment increases in the 14% range. We're just about back to where we were pre-pandemic in spring of 2020, which is really exciting. So I maintain a monthly phone call with stakeholders at each of the colleges where we talk about student communication and making sure that students are aware of events, activities that are happening, clubs on campus. And most recently, I've been working with our student leaders. We've got a couple of really great student trustees right now that quite clearly identified some gaps in the training materials that we provide student leaders. So we've been working on kind of building up the materials that our student leaders can use.
What are student leaders?
So that's, we have 2 elected students that serve as trustees. And then each of the colleges has a student body governing committee. So we call it associated students. So there's associated students of Laney College and associated students of Berkeley City College. So it's those people, and there's a president and a vice president and senators.
So when these students are, I guess they have a free tuition, but they still have the expense of books and things?
We tried to offset as much of that expense as we could, but yeah, books can be expensive. So one of the people that reports to me is a graphic designer and has helped the colleges with the monthly semester schedules, so that students can browse through and identify the classes. And one of the updates that we made this year is flagging with an icon the classes that are free or low cost, so that students can enroll going in to know where they're not going to be spending hundreds of dollars on textbooks.
And excuse me, Mr. Johnson, if I may, as a student right now, Chair Crowley, I can say that in one of my classes, even though we do have to pay for a physical book, if we want the physical book, there is also in the student portal where you can access that book online if you want to. So you're not supposed to share it. You're not supposed to print out anything of that or anything like that, any material. But if there is no elimination of the cost, there is a reduced cost option. I'll say.
Yeah.
So
No cost textbooks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyhow, I do support my colleagues in general services with supporting this because it's an important public facing committee, but this is absolutely not the core of my job.
Okay, well, that was a big revelation to me when you informed me that this was not your core job. Andrea, did you have a comment or question?
No, I just wanted to say, well, I want to move on, so I just will let it pass.
Okay,
Okay?
okay. So are any other questions or comments regarding interview with Mark Johnson? Hearing none, we move on to agenda item number 8, which is the annual report subcommittee. I'll say a few words about that. We looked at the previous annual report from this subcommittee, from this committee. And I also compared that to annual report for Fremont Unified School District. I thought that the Fremont Unified School District has some really good features because it has most of the information is related to the public through bullet points and not much dialogue. And I thought that our reports that have lots of dialogue is probably not going to be read by the public for the most part. They're going to skim over it. And so we're trying to make it more accessible and receivable by the public. And so that's what we are working on right now, is that we're modeling our annual report on the Fremont Unified School District. And if you want to go online to the Fremont Unified School District and see what they've got, I encourage you to do that. If you have any questions, let's hear them. Or you have any comments?
I'm actually familiar with their report. I think I concur it. You know, I'm not adverse to having less words and more pictures. Yeah, and it more of a PR piece. I think it's just that if you have someone on the committee that has the capability of doing a good portion of that work, I really feel like it belongs with the committee. I mean, Mark Johnson has helped us in the past, and my feeling is that you want to keep enough ownership of the report, that it is this committee's report, always, for, you know, regardless of who's on the committee. And what my experience has been in Oakland Unified is that, you know, there's years that people step up to do the report, and they like having a boilerplate, because then it becomes easier, because it's the first run at a report is tough. And what you see in a number of districts, you can almost tell that the report has actually been produced by the district and the committee is bought off on it. And I don't feel like that it should ever be that way. I feel like we should participate. We should be taking the lead. So I really appreciate your technical skills, and I know Jeff is on the committee too. And so I think it's great that it changes some. And but you know, there are some that go into details, and I think Fremont is one of them, that actually tells about more than the charge of our committee and gets into the whole district's business. And so I would hope that we keep to what our charge is and what the California Constitution says in Prop 39. That's what, and the regulations that go with it, which is between 15278 and 15282.
Okay, well, I agree with you.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've seen some of the reports here in Alameda County are so bad that they not only does the district do the report for the oversight committee, the district's contractor does the report for the subcommittee, and that's beyond the pale. So yes, I fully agree that we have the responsibility to do it, and I'm delighted that to work with Cole on this.
So I'd like to ask it, are we going to have a draft report for next month that will come before the committee? Because if we do, which would be great, you can make changes to it, minor changes, as long as you're not making sweeping changes, and agree to them the evening of the critique of the report, which I would hope that we spend our whole time pretty much on that item. And then we can approve the report with the changes so it can be presented to the public. And I know we have a difference of opinion, but to my way of thinking, it should be approved and presented to the trustees too, always.
We don't have a different opinion on that. It should be, but it's not required to be. And I don't think that you
Okay.
have maintained your position that it's required to be.
No, but I don't see how you can successfully report to the public if you don't go through the trustees.
By
So-
posting it on the website, that's how you can do it to the public.
Yeah.
Okay. So, are there any other comments? Yes.
Are
Cool.
we, Are we sure that we don't want to share the draft so
So-
far? Yeah, we don't want to share the draft with people present now.
If you would like to, let's do it.
Okay,
That's great.
Mr. Johnson, I'm gonna shoot you an email
Okay.
real quick. And,
Thank
that way it can be, put up for everybody to see.
Well, that means I have to open my email. I've been intentionally not.
Oh,
Oh, man.
he's kidding. you.
Oh,
He's kidding
That's
you.
a
Oh,
record
okay.
show.
I know that, I can tell that smile on his face, being facetious.
I love it. All desktop.
So again, this is just, the template, all the information will, need to be, placed into it, obviously, but, I'm open, on the subcommittee, with both Mr. Camper and Chair Crowley, but I'm also open to any feedback to if it'll help make it, better from a design standpoint or.
Well, the feedback I would like to have generally on it is that our reports are in arrears. And so we're basically saying that the district's in compliance a year after, it's passed. all
I
right?
understand,
Yeah,
yeah,
and so I've always felt that the public's always interested also in what's going on now. And so, because it says a lot about us, that we're continuing to meet and we're continuing to be involved and getting reports, okay? So it's like, for instance, the groundbreaking at Berkeley City College.
yes.
To my way of thinking, these items should be in the report also, and it is in the future looking, but that way it's not stale, I guess.
So, yes, as you said, we're presenting past information showing that we're in compliance across the board, everything's great, kosher, but also giving a breath of the future as
Yeah.
well, moving
Yeah.
forward. Okay, yeah. So, I don't know, Mr. Johnson, you want, well, I mean, you don't have to put in, presentation mode, but, if you feel so inclined. See.
It does make it a little bit easier to see, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
Yes, but, just looking at that and what I tried to do, or my best was like looking at last year's report and then imagining it in slide presentation form. So that was my working for it.
Mhm.
So when as Chair Crowley said, if it, make it available to the public, they can, just either pull up the PDF or look at the, wherever we place the living link for it.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I would say it's easier to, as somebody looking at it in slide formation versus like a report,
yeah,
right? It's
Yeah.
tangible, it's a little bit
Right.
easier to get the point of each page, it's very specific,
Yes.
so it's good.
yeah.
We seem to really like that stuff in the last few years, huh? That's what COVID did for us.
So, yeah, but that's pretty much it. I know it's very all bare bones, but
Yeah.
again, yeah, so after the subcommittee continues work on it, and then I'll collaborate with whomever, Mr. Johnson or, Mr. From CDWL,
Yeah, the auditor.
Oh, yeah, Ben Levitt.
yeah, Mr. Levitz, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think, like talking about the future, I mean, you have the page of the addition, like it'd be things to look forward to, something coming
Oh,
soon,
Right,
Okay,
right,
yeah.
all right, yeah.
yeah.
And there's actually exciting things, so
Right.
that's nice.
Mhm.
And right, then you could do the groundbreaking pictures of
Mhm,
that, right?
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And wonderful, right?
By the way, Director Marshall is here because she's overseeing the Laney College capital projects, while Director Hoff is overseeing the other 3 campuses and the district office. So that's kind of the division of labor there.
We're twins.
That's
A lot of cinder block in Alameda, that's all I can say. A lot of cinder block. Yeah,
Okay,
it's pretty impressive though.
yeah, it's impressive.
I drive by it, so I get a chance to see it's going.
So are there any questions or comments regarding the work in progress here?
No, it sounds like we'll get there next month.
Okay, so hearing none, we move on. The next agenda item is number 9. Are there any public comments regarding Andrea's committee work plan schedule?
Draft work plan schedule.
Yeah, hearing none, we're now into the committee discussions. Andrea, would you like to take the lead on this?
I gotta find it here. Okay, well. So basically. You can see that, I followed the pattern of what's been successful at Oakland Unified for very many years, and we have a very active CBOC over there. To give you an example, we just did site tours, and 8 out of 9 of the CBOC members came for 3 hours, and we went site tours. And so, and we, produced reports and had our ups and downs as a committee, but we've been really successful with basically this format. And we don't meet in July and August, unless there's an emergency meeting, and I don't believe it's happened in the last 6 years, because it's when staff that's supporting writing reports and reporting to us are the very busiest, because, school is at least, if not out in the colleges, at least the enrollment is, it's summer school basically. And so you get a lot done, and the days are longer, lots of reasons anyway. So my proposal is that you, the first meeting of the fiscal year would be September, and you elect the chair and the vice chair. You have a presentation of the BMOC governance documents, discussion of potential presentations related to BMOC work, and you might not have any, or you might have some ideas of some particular things you want to do for the year. And then schedule presentation of this report. I didn't put the year, but the previous, it should have been the previous report's year, to the Peralta Board of Trustees. So it would be this June's report. October, review of the website, staff report on bond construction progress, staff report on expenditures and financials. Construction site visit schedule.
Sorry, so what period does the staff, what do the staff reports there cover?
Which one?
So in October 24, there are 2 staff reports, one for construction progress and one for expenditures. And I'm wondering what time period those reports are included.
Well, that is a discussion you can have with Betty, but I think, and staff changes and has a different opinion about this, but, I think you should be looking at it in the big picture, but actually focusing on, for instance, what happened in the summer, the 3 months, the previous 3 months, okay? So having having construction progress at every meeting and expenditures isn't necessary unless you have lots going on. So this isn't this can change. But I personally think it's very important to have construction progress at every meeting because this is what this committee is about, is tracking what you're doing. And if there's any flags, and I give an example of a building at Oakland Unified that's, way over budget, and our committee said, don't you spend another nickel on it because it's for all adults. And, you know, and the example we give is if you're gonna all of a sudden tell them that they're gonna get a lunch center and a greenhouse outside, we're gonna be upset, even though it might fit in the bond language, we're gonna say, is that really the best use of that money? So that's why I think construction progress is important. Expenditures and financials, I think it's pretty tough to come to us every month with updated expenditures and financials, because the kind of report that you would be giving us is not necessarily your whole internal, what I call the big data dump, you know, that's 60 pages long. I don't know that we want to see that. We want to see an overview,
High
and
level.
high level information. And we want to be able to see the 60-page dump or know it exists as a link, you know, or something, but we don't want all of that. So then, this, and then the site visit schedule, I just think that you should consider at that time what you're gonna do for the year, like if you're gonna visit sites and get it set up. We've already done ours at Oakland Unified for the whole year, and so, you know, we're doing 2 a month for all the projects. Anyway,
Have you guys done the site visit on any of the construction work? As a committee now? I'm just
We-
curious.
Not
we've been
offi-
invited, well, yeah, go ahead.
I don't think officially we've all said there's gonna be a meeting and we're gonna be in Berkeley, I think.
Okay.
I've
Yeah.
never been to one that way. but
Right.
There have been opportunities if we ever wanted to see
Got it.
one, just,
Okay.
Yeah.
Mark says, we'll hook you up, give you a hard hat, away you go.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah, so, and of course interrupted all of this, and so, you know, so that's one of the reasons I think why. And then, so November review of the program projects. Oh, I started to say, so this bond program projects, one campus. I personally don't have a preference to see it that way, but that was a Joe Broadhurst recommendation that maybe we just do a deeper dive on one campus at a time and 4 times of the year. So that's why I put the
Certified
question mark there. So,
Is that to review the construction that's going on,
Yeah,
like not on
just-
site, but here discussing?
Well, to review everything that's happening on that one campus that's being funded by the bond program, the
Right.
capital program.
Right, and so when it comes to that time to discuss it, it might be worth, because some might only have one project and one might have, you know, 4 or 5. And so you might be able to combine maybe 2 campuses, you know,
Yeah,
whatever
Yeah.
the time
Right.
allows, but when that conversation comes up.
right. That's why I said
Yeah.
I left it as a question mark because, you know, I think you can do more than one, but it depends.
Right.
So,
Good time for a site visit too, huh, to
Yeah,
bring
that's
it to
like-
3 dimensions.
I wonder
Right.
if you could move your meetings and like have a meeting at each one of the 4
Hmm.
campuses over the course of the year. And that way, maybe, you know, you take a sort of site visit and you can,
that's
Find
a
a room.
great idea.
you know.
That's a great
Yeah.
idea. That's
Yeah.
a really good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I mean, it's the downside of it is maybe if it's in the evening, you gotta keep staff there and you really don't have the construction lead person there, but you can make those arrangements. I understand that, yeah. So anyway, then, you know, no meeting in December and January. People are busy and, I'm not really sure that it merits a meeting, and I will say that if it did, you can always decide in November that you need a meeting and what the topics are gonna be, right? And then February, it's the same thing again, and March, you know, see, I only had, so the March is review of, wait a minute, I probably didn't do something quite right here. Well, you know, I think this is subject to like some comments, okay? So I'm not quite sure what I did in March there. See, you could almost get rid of that March meeting, right? If you combine that with Laney, okay? But, April is the big month. I mean, you've got the audit. March, sometimes you would have the audit in March. And that's why I remember now I started moving things around, yeah.
I think the audit is due by the end of March, is that right?
It is,
Yeah,
but we have our meeting in the beginning, and so sometimes the auditor is ahead, they've already
Well, like-
delivered it in February, and if they have, then it benefits everyone to have the presentation in March. And then you really get a jump then you review construction progress and financials for the whole year, and you write you select the subcommittee in April and write the report. You have May and June. So that's kind of my thinking on it.
yeah. So that first bullet in April could very easily be marked.
It should go
could
up
be,
to
yeah.
March,
Yeah.
and then it should, I think, and that's what, now I remember, I'm doing this really fast one day, and it's just like,
Well, it was in March for this committee this year.
yeah, exactly.
And actually, we had it agendized for February, and then we realized,
Yeah,
it's Valentine's Day, and a lot of our committee members have a life.
exactly right. Yeah,
So we didn't meet in February.
yeah, it's just so many districts, but right up against that March deadline, and so, but, I mean, the March 31st, which it's never can be the meeting, you don't want to have a meeting on the last day. So, anyway, yeah, so I would say move that up to March, and then that's my overall thoughts on it.
Okay, well, my number one comment about it is that, your recommendations that we have no meetings in, December and January, also in, July and August. That is contrary to our agreement that we have a meeting every month. And until we have an excess of meetings where we have nothing to talk about, I think we should continue to have a meeting every month. And for the last few years, we've had an agreement to have a meeting every month. And last year we had 7 meetings, and the year before that we had 6 meetings. So I think that we need to schedule a meeting every month. So that is my number one comment about this. And it's not like there is nothing that we need to discuss in July. I think that there are plenty of other issues that have just never bubbled to the surface because we're always playing catch up. So, for example, one of the agenda items that we should have, and we've never talked about, is the facilities master list. And when I was looking, the auditor, when he was here, he referred to the citizens master list. And so I thought, I've never seen the citizens master list. I think I'll look it up. And there is no citizens master list. There is a number of lists of here's a list of things for Laney, here's a list of things for Merritt, but there's no master list that we're supposed to know which is the next program that has the highest priority, the one for Alameda or the one for Laney. We should be at least understand that. And last autumn, I was particularly shocked when we were talking to Mr. Olson about what is a allowable expense. And so we've never taken a deep dive into allowable expenses. What the auditor said is that, we've looked at it and we've determined that they were all allowable expenses. Well, last autumn, when I was asking Mr. Olson about what is a capital expense, anything, more than $10,000 or something that lasts more than a certain number of years, or 10 years or something like that. And I, tried to keep, dumbing down the question to finally get him to say, oh, that would not be allowable. That would be, would not be a, capital expense, and it shouldn't be done on the bond. And I kept on asking him till finally I asked him, well, how about painting a handrail? He says, well, that might be allowable. Painting a handrail out of a bond? That is not what bonds are for. And so we need to at least have the discussion. We've never had the discussion. You have a comment to make?
I do, yeah. And so some of these things, so the colleges do, and the district does a facilities master plan, which is something that we will be doing again very shortly. And so that prioritizes for all the campuses and district-wide, and that is on the district website. And then each year, we make sure that the prioritizations are managed with the schools through shared governance, and then reported to the state through the 5-year capital outlay plan. And so those things always tie together. And that information is all here. And about the painting of a railing. So if it's just painting this railing, you're right, that wouldn't be part of the bonds. But there could be a modernization, or a beautification
Right, that
plan.
includes painting.
So that includes painting. And so in that instance, so it really just depends on how things are packaged and how work is scoped out.
Well, regarding the facilities master list,
Mhm.
it's at least poor enough that it is not readily accessible by me on the website when I was trying to find it. There is some kind of website comment about facilities or projects or something like that. But there was not an item that says facilities master list.
Plan, because it's master plan.
Because it's
Yeah.
master.
Oh,
Right.
master
Yeah.
plan.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, facilities master plan.
And how big is that? How many pages?
It's huge.
Like 500?
Ooh, that might be on the venture
I mean,
guess.
I know.
It's supposed to be 50.
Huh?
It's 150.
Oh, yeah,
150.
150.
Oh, yours is pretty
Yeah,
concise.
scroll back up to the
Yeah,
top
there
of
you
that, would you, please?
Yeah.
Facilities and technology master plan update. So that was 2017. That was 7 years ago.
Approved March
And-
13, 2018.
Okay, and if we look down through that, there is no master plan. Singular. There are lots of different plans. There's plans for each of the campuses. There's, some of them even talk about, the importance of students' education and things like that. That's, that, at least we need to understand and question it, and we've never done that. Yes,
So that is what, right in here is discussion on potential special presentations related to BMOC work. So if you want to add that now, you could, but this is a work plan. It can change.
yes,
And
that's right.
so I think that the idea is that to basically, I can't remember, it was your idea,
Yeah.
I believe, along with Jill's, come up with a simple kind of just a plan. It's not saying you can't add meetings,
Right.
but I think that if you have a roadmap that you at least vote on, or, so bring it back as an information, as something to approve next month, and add some items to it if you want, then we can decide if we need 8 meetings a year or 12. And there is always an opportunity to add a meeting. And I think that the district would want our input. If there's something critical, if, I hate to say it, but if the district's going in the wrong direction the trustees want it to go in the right direction,
Yeah.
so they're gonna think that, yeah, they need another meeting, so staff is gonna be directed to have another meeting so we can understand why you're spending $50 million more on one building and on one campus, and how did that happen?
Well,
They're gonna want that, so.
The only thing I think that you and I disagree on that is that you want to add one more meeting. I say we're gonna have a meeting every month, and when we finally get to the point where we got our job under control, then we can say we don't need another meeting. Let's skip December. Let's skip January, because we caught up, and we've never caught up. So I'm not going to agree that we're going to start out by eliminating meetings. We've
Well-
already got the ongoing agreement that we're gonna have a meeting every.
Well, the thing is, I think we should vote on it, as a committee.
We've already voted on it.
Yes, but it's coming back to the committee, and I'd like to propose that we actually have it on the agenda next month to have that conversation again and determine if we want to have 8, 12 meetings a year as for an agreement.
No, I'm not going to put that on the agenda next month. We can put, working on this draft, next month, updates on this draft. We're not going to put that on the draft, on the agenda, just as you are moving out. So, we'll leave that to the, new members of a new oversight committee, in, July.
I apologize.
You're right.
I have to take off.
No.
Very sad, but I just wanted to make one suggestion related to the work before I left, which is to try to chunk out the reports so that you're getting a relatively the same amount of information each time. And it probably takes a month to close the books. And so, you know, if you meet in June, maybe that's your February, March, and April financials. And then if you meet in September, then, you know, it's May, June, and July financials. Just so that you're not either getting 6 months of information, which is kind of an overwhelming amount of information to get through, or, you know, you're just getting a tiny slice because you just had a report the next month. But
Yeah,
for what it's worth.
no, I think that's great, and so I think that's something that you
So
should work
we,
with
we
on
should
staff.
have that discussion, and we've never had that discussion. Yes. So is there anything more that, anyone wants to say about Andrea Dawson's, draft schedule?
Good plan, but we'll take it up, I guess, in July.
Okay. Thank you. So any new business? Okay, I see that it is 7:30 right now. If there's any new business, please email me. And the sooner you email me, the better. Don't wait till 72 hours plus one. Try to get it to me a week in advance so that we can clarify any questions about it. And Mark and I already have an agreement that we're going to post the agenda, or at least attempt to post the agenda 72 hours plus 1 day, so we don't have panic attacks.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Okay, is there anything else to be said before we adjourn? Okay, thank you for being here and for behaving better than I.
And thank you both for attending, and I appreciate meeting both of you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good information.
Thank you,
Yeah.
everybody.
Not
Bye-bye.
looking forward.